Sorry about the glitch. I'm going to try and invite Shruti again. I don't know, there was a network issue. Not sure which the reason for that. So let me try for Shruti once again. Shruti, where are you? Where are you, Shruti? So while we're waiting for Shruti to join in, to tell you a little more about Sweet Connect, we have a network of about 200 plus home bakers across the country, and we are looking for more bakers to join us. So if any of you bakers are watching this, get in contact with me. You can DM me, or my number is 8976161214. I would be happy to talk with you and let you know all about Sweet Connect. Let me check if no, Shruti is not yet online. Sorry about this. There seems to be some glitch at Shruti's end. She is unable to join us right now. Yeah, I think she's there. 1 minute. Let me just...
Can you see me, hear me?
Hi Shruti, are you there?
Hey, hi, I am there. Can you see me, hear me real time?
It's better than previous, but I guess this is as good as it's going to get. I think we
Yes.
should continue.
I think this is better now. I think they gave up on us. Like, let them talk.
Okay,
So
so
hi,
let's just,
finally.
hi, finally. I've been trying to get you online for so long, so we meet at last. So tell us,
Thank you so
Shruti,
much for inviting me here.
so tell us about your journey so far as a baker. How did you start? What made you start? You were obviously not into this profession. You were into sales and business development. What made you quit that and get into entrepreneurship and baking at that? So
To begin with, I have loved food. Like it's always been something which was a stress buster for me. So anything related to food was something which I was always inclined at a very. So my grandma used to bake cookies. My mom used to bake like cakes. So it was just like the very simple cake which we all used to so that it was something that I was used to seeing it at a very young age. So I think it naturally there was an inclination towards cooking. And when I started in when I was 21-year old, like clueless about baking, clueless about business. There was nobody from my family who had a business background, but I just wanted to do something on my own. And I think when your blood is boiling at that age, there's a lot of things that you want to accomplish, and you just dive straight. I just dive straight into it, without much thinking what people are going to say, what's going to happen, what's the consequences. I let me just give it a shot. So I started with corporate gifting and chocolates, and I was not doing those your personalized cakes or anything of that sort during the journey. But I realized it was you do a lot of you pivot a lot when you're in business or anything. What works for you, what doesn't work for you, you keep on tweaking to see what can you do better. So I started with chocolates, and then later on, I think so. I started with chocolate in 2012, and later got into baking only post 2014.
Okay.
Because I realized one thing, because corporate gifts, which is still a much seasonal activity, and I need to be a little more, again, when you're talking about business, there needs to be consistency, there needs to be a lot of orders in and out coming. So that's when the cakes happened, and I felt like that was my thing, because I could creatively much more express myself when I'm doing something with edible art. That became like an edible art for me.
Okay.
So that was something which I was very much interested in. And yeah, then I've been baking for people. So again, apart from corporate orders, I was to also do personal baking for everybody. And the journey just became better and better post that. So initially we did not have so much of the baking atmosphere which in India, and now you see everyone's becoming a baker. It's just a fun, it's just an amazing way to see like how much the industry as a whole has progressed, and so much of awareness is there right now in terms of baking and new stuff. There's so many new trends which keep following, so it's just very interesting to see.
Okay. So, from your transition from being, you said you started off with corporate gifts and chocolates. So that requires a different kind of setup, I assume, from being a baker to becoming this thing. So, how did you transition into that? So, I mean, with in terms of equipments, in terms of kind of getting the clients and things like that. How did that go for you?
So I think because I was coming from the sales and sales background, it was not really difficult for me to pursue people or about me. But still, though I was very shy, because again, I'm not coming from any culinary background, so it was difficult to establish that trust. But I think it's just the way you are and the way you see when you're talking about your product and you know what you're using, and it just comes naturally to you. You don't have to make it sound like grand, because you know what you're giving them, and once they eat it, you understand. That's when the deal is closed, and it closes for years, because I have so many people, repeat businesses from clients, who always come back, and they absolutely know, because the relationship is built as such. They know what I know, what they like, the entire family likes. I know they have fondant people, not fondant people, experimental people. They want to stick to the classics. I pretty much know that that's the personal connection I have with them. So when they come back to me, they tell me, okay, what's new, any new flavors, or stick to this, and everything else is in your hand. So there is no intrusion of any sort, which I get the liberty to create. So if there's anything new that I want to try, I try it out. So the relationship building is a one-time activity, but it lasts forever. Right. So in that case, I think it just comes naturally to me to have that. So that
Yeah, so no, I will have to attest to that because of the relationship we've built ourselves with each other. So yeah,
absolutely.
it doesn't take time for Shruti to make friends. That much I can attest to.
Thank you so much. So that's the thing, you don't push anything. Like even when we started talking, it just naturally started building up, so much more than baking.
Yeah, so now coming back to baking, so when you started baking, do you remember that first client of yours, the first cake that you actually sold?
The first cake that I actually sold, actually I baked for a friend of mine, a bachelorette cake, and looking back at that right now, it just gives me so I can't stop laughing, because I'm like, did I really create that? But but it was just a learning process. So back then, that was the best that I could do. And if I look back at it right now, that over the years with your practice, that's when your skills develop. So there is always a learning behind it. So I still remember all the cakes that I do, like even the first of the first, and it's really I still have a beautiful memory of it.
Do you have an image of that? I must have a look at it sometime.
Absolutely, in my head. I will share that with you. I made this journey, that reel was trending. When from where you reached where, that kind of. I'll show that to you. So it was the pretty much the first cake which I actually uploaded was a fresh cream with your mixed fruit cake, and I was glad that it is standing straight. That so So yeah, so many pictures have not even gone up, because thinking, how it'll look and this, that. But yeah, I've seen a lot of progress in myself, and I am seeing a lot of other bakers as well. When we all started off, the kind of work that they do right now is immense. So this only comes after practice.
So
Absolutely.
no shortcut. You just have to do it. You keep at it and to reach anywhere. I
Absolutely.
guess that's true of any
Absolutely.
profession you are in. So from that first cake to
Absolutely.
your next order was what I mean. I've spoken to quite a few bakers. Some of them say it was very organic and it just happened, and they didn't really have to do much. But the others said they had a long wait, and then eventually things started picking up. In fact, from the first order to the second order, there used to be a long gap. So was that the same for you, or what was your experience like?
So again, when you're talking about 2014, when nothing of digital was there, I came on Instagram very very late, and I've been still not very going over and above to do anything in terms of ads or anything, but it's just naturally grown to me. So it's organic, whatever has happened. The first year, if you say that, it wasn't like really, it's still, you're setting your base, so it takes a lot of time to establish, and getting to know people, plus them getting to know about you, what you do. So since I was doing corporate orders, what happened was, those people who used to order for work, they started ordering for home as well.
Okay,
So that's
okay.
when that network kind of opened up for me. So again, so that was a good outlet. Then it's not only, I'm not even sticking to my own locality, but I deliver pan India, pan Mumbai right now, so all over Mumbai. So you know that was helpful.
Okay. And what would you say? I mean, did you have, when you started off with your business, whether it was this corporate gifting or the cakes that you're doing? So, in terms of when you're setting up a business, you normally have a business plan in place. I mean, you have, this is what I need to achieve by the first year, this is what I need to achieve in the second year. Did you have those kind of plans? How did you go about that?
Honestly, like that's the one thing which I kind of regret, because I never looked at it from a business perspective, and I was more passionate about what I was doing, and I was like, and there are so many times, you end up giving more cake the weight. I was never like those banya, that I have to only give 500 grams. So that's something which I wish I would have done that, but I don't compromise on it. So if it has to look a certain way, then you can't, like, honestly, I feel sometimes that you can't mix business and passion sometimes, because you just like give it, it's okay. I happily would love to, because at the end of the day, the biggest achievement that I get is, when they come back and tell me like how much they enjoyed it. So that's the more rewarding factor for me. So in that perspective, I was not looking at it from the business perspective. As I told you, there's the targets and Excel sheets. This is the business plan. I never kind of had that, at least in the start of the year, couple of years, and I just let it go with the flow. Just trying to see how things are working out for me, because this is definitely a very physically taxing industry. So again, I had a lot of limitations at my end as well. So I was not like going over and above, my capacity to kind of
Correct, correct.
blow this up. So
So
took it slow.
looking back, if you have to tell the other bakers who are just joining into the profession, or if they were to ask you, would you say that you should have certain things in place, or if it was, then what would those be?
I would definitely tell them, go slow, experiment, see, what you're comfortable with as a medium, and try to get your own, what do you call, your own style, and then take it slow, and don't go overtly invest into absolutely expensive equipments if you don't know, like, what you're going to get the returns of. So one thing at a time, like maybe start with a smaller setup, then see if it's really good, going, what do you call, uh, if you're getting the returns on investment, then go upgrade yourself eventually. Like, so it's a process. So take it slow, learn everything in between. Again, do a lot of courses, learn from people who've already established and are successful. So that's going to save you a lot of time and effort when you're trying to figure it on your own. So that was one thing which I would tell everybody, and myself. So
So
Yes.
when you're talking about courses, I mean, there are a lot of self-taught bakers also who do excellent work, and obviously there are people who've done
Yes.
professional courses. So I've been speaking to both sides of the coin. So I kind of want to know what is your opinion on that. Do you think that getting professionally certified is a must, or being self-taught, experimenting yourself will also be fine?
See, I'm a self-taught baker. But there were a lot of times where I had to experiment a lot, and the process is elaborate. So I'm saying that if in case you have access to, again there are two sides to this. If you have access to somebody who you can learn from, do that, and so that you will save out on a lot of time, effort, and patience and everything. Otherwise, definitely you have YouTube. Go learn yourself, practice a lot. Eventually, you have to practice, even though you learn from somebody else or you learn, yourself learning. You have to practice to keep at it. So I would recommend that in due course, like for example, I've done a lot of courses from Levon in the pandemic,
Okay.
and easily accessible, easily the people are awesome. So you get that kind of you can just sit at home and learn something new, which it's going to take a lot more time to do it yourself. So that was good. So
Okay. So
do whatever you can in your capacity.
yeah, but so learning from somebody kind of saves your own time in terms of you trying and finding out something you've already established. There are certain established rules, you follow them. But at the end of the day, like they say, practice makes perfect. You need to practice. Great. So I was thinking over the years, you said you've started, I think, cakes from 2014. That's what you told me, right? So you must
Yes,
have come across so many clients of all varieties, I must say. So any funny incident you would like to narrate?
absolutely. Mm, uh, Yeah, I had a recent client who was, that was an adult cake which we were discussing. And for the first time, there was a guy who was discussing that, and he felt super uncomfortable first at the start because he was like, okay, I'm like, it's okay, just tell me what you want exactly so that we can work it out. So that was a very funny incident, but otherwise, clients have been absolutely amazing. I'm touch wood and be blessed with super amazing people to work with. And the thing is, another reward which I get is they come back and tell me people don't like cakes, so let's stick to a smaller cake. But they eventually come and tell me that people who don't eat cakes, they ended up eating everything. So that's that is like another thing. So I know that when you're giving good stuff, at the end of the day, it's food, and people really celebrate food, so they love it. So they come back for that. So that's the high.
So like you were saying, nowadays because people are more woke and people are more health conscious, there is this trend where they don't want sugar in cakes, they want sugar-free cakes, or they want cakes made out of wheat and not maida and any other products that jaggery is used and things like that. So you get customers like this, or do you think this is something which will stay, or it is just a fad which will fade away?
No, it will stay, and it will stay for long, and it will grow actually because again, personally, I have a sweet tooth, and I would also want to cherish and eat a lot of sweets, but not like really look at my calorie intake also. So using natural organic ingredients will definitely satisfy your sweet tooth craving, but you're not eventually going to put a lot of calories. And again, birthday cakes are one-off things. Not everyone is consuming cakes every day. So on a one-off thing, when you're doing something elaborate, certainly you can have all the carbs and the sugar and everything. But if you still have that craving, you want to eat it like really every day. So stick to something which is naturally, what do you call natural product like dates or jaggery or anything like. You can have that as well. So I personally do that myself. So again, a lot of healthy cakes is a good alternative.
Yeah. So, in all your years of experience as a baker, what experience was the most challenging, or what were the challenges that you actually came across as an entrepreneur, and specifically as a woman entrepreneur? Or do you think there is no difference between being a regular entrepreneur and a woman entrepreneur?
Uh, on I haven't faced much of the challenge like that because being a woman was made any different for me. Difference because I think people appreciated. The thing is, it was a fair ground for me. I would say like it didn't make a lot of difference because even when I entered the corporate sector, the people I used to speak with and everybody, it was a pretty fair game, and I didn't face any as such challenges in terms of being a woman or something like that.
But you must have faced some challenges as an entrepreneur, or was it a smooth sailing?
Challenges is what no, it was never a smooth sailing. So the challenges would be like very last moment orders. They want something absolutely elaborate and in a very tight budget. So these are things which again as an entrepreneur you would not want to let the customer go. So you try to figure out the best alternative for both of us. But again, there are some things you cannot really bend down to, like compromising on the quality of ingredients and everything, which then you have to let it go. So these are the challenges which I still face. So, but I try to explain them and educate them of what we are giving, why we are charging an X amount of money. So this is the same challenge. It's always going to be a story because people are still getting to know about good ingredients, good quality stuff. So it's a long process.
I
like
guess
that.
it's an ongoing process because a lot of people that I've spoken to have also have raised the same concerns in terms of when it comes to home cooking. Why is this so expensive? And then explaining to them about the ingredients and things
Yes.
like that. Yeah, so I guess a lot of home bakers face the same challenge. So, what would you suggest that they do?
Yeah.
I mean, especially the newer home bakers who are in the market, they find it even more daunting because people are already established. They have created a niche for themselves. They are in a position enough to say no to a particular order. But the people who are just starting, they, I mean, anybody who just starts is apprehensive. So they feel a little bit reluctant to say no, then end up taking a loss on themselves when they take up the order. What would you suggest?
Believe yourself, believe yourself and educate those people because it's okay to let that one order go than getting into that vicious cycle of just going back to doing the same stuff. So educate yourself first so that you are convinced internally that you know what you're doing, and it's easier to let it out. And that's the thing.
You said earlier that it is extremely physically tough to be a baker. So I know I've heard from you and from others how late at the night or early on the mornings you guys wake up and things like that just to start baking all over again in that kitchen in that heat. I can't even imagine doing that day in and day out. Where do you get the motivation to do this?
So again, as I told you, in the entire journey, there have been so many times that again with the setbacks, you are like, okay, I just want to give up, and you try to throw the towel, but then it's just that the appreciation you get at the end of the day, and and when you are baking, especially with me, like when I'm baking, I just get lost in my own world. So that is something which is unmatched. A very happy what do you call a feedback, and then you know that you're on the right path, you know what you're doing, and people appreciate that, so that's how it is.
So how does Shruti Nair unwind?
All Shruti and I unwinds by right now trying to put a time thing in schedule, time schedule, very strict schedule. So I try to say no to a couple of things which I cannot take over because it's taking a toll on my health right now. So taking care of all of these things, you are okay to let go certain stuff, but then you know that you're mentally clear. And I unwind. I try to not stay back late, get up super early, try to stick to a schedule, and that is more fruitful and that is more. It goes a long way actually.
So you're basically trying to
I unwind by having a piece of the old.
so basically trying to find a balance between your work and your personal space, I assume.
Yes,
So
yes, that's very important.
on that note, I think our network is showing up again, thank God. But now, I think on that note, I can say bye to you and say a big thanks for joining us today and taking us through your life and your journey and imparting your words of wisdom for anybody who's been watching us. Thank you so much, Shruti.
Thank you so much, Libby. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye bye.